We have our Express server in place and we have our 4 routes set up. For each, we're sending back a text response, which gets shown in the browser. Now, in reality, we're never going to just send back a string. We're either going to send back HTML designed to be rendered in the browser, or we're going to send back JSON designed to be consumed and used by code. Let's go ahead and explore how we can get both of those done, and the answer is once again still using response.send. We just change what we pass inside. So imagine that I wanted to render some HTML. I could remove the contents of the string and put some HTML right inside of the string. Now, if you're not familiar with HTML, that is a-okay. We're going to be covering the basics as we explore the web server setup process. Right here, we're going to use an h1 tag to set up a nice large title. So I'm going to open my tag using the following syntax. Then I'll close the h1 tag using the following syntax. And right inside, I'm going to put my title content. So right here, for the h1 element, I'll just say something like weather. Now, if I save the file, the server has restarted and we can view our HTML in the browser. I'm going to go from /weather to the root of my application. And what do I see? I see weather showing up in nice big font. So if I want to send HTML back, I can simply provide it right inside of the string I pass to response.send. Express is going to detect that, and it's going to get everything sent back correctly. Next up, we can also send back JSON. This is going to be useful, especially when we want to send back data that's intended to be consumed by code. Down below, for the moment, let's go ahead and do that for help, though in the end of the day, help is indeed going to render an HTML page. Right here, to do that, all we do is we provide either an object or an array as the value to send. So as an example, I can pass to send an object and I could set up some properties. Let's set up some properties about ourselves. So name Andrew and age 27. Now when we visit this page, we're going to get a JSON response back. Express is going to detect we've provided an object. It is automatically going to stringify the JSON for us, and it's going to get it sent to the requester correctly. With this code in place and our file saved, I can navigate over to /help. Right here, /help. And when I visit it, what do I see? I see my parsed JSON by our JSON formatter extension. I could always view the raw version right here. This is the raw response. This is the stringified version of the object we created. And once again, the parsed response showing up. So now we know how to send back HTML and we know how to send back JSON. It's important to note that this JSON could be an array if we needed it to be. I can set up an array. Let's call this an array of objects, and I could have objects with name for each. So I could have name Andrew for the first object. Then I could add a second object to the array with something like name right here, Sarah. Now, if I was to refresh the page, I would still see my JSON showing up. I have my array of objects, each with the properties configured, and I can use the Chrome extension to navigate them right here. Once again, we have the raw version as well. So now we have our HTML and our JSON responses in place, and we're going to move on to the challenge for this very quick video. The goal here was to just show you how you can use send to send back other types of information, all of which we'll be exploring more extensively as we build out more complex Express applications. Right here, I have your challenge for the video. You're going to update the 2 routes you created in the last one. So for the about route, you're going to set that up to render a title using HTML. So you want to render about, but as a large HTML title. Then for weather, you're going to set that up to send back a JSON response. And that's actually what weather is going to end up being. That is how the front end of our application will get the weather from the back end. Now, for the moment, we're just going to spoof the response by setting up a static object. So make sure to send back an object with a forecast and location string as properties. So the location would be something like Philadelphia, and the forecast could be something like it's 50 degrees, though we'll use our complete forecast string and location string a bit later when we actually integrate everything together. Last up, test your work. When you visit /about, you should see your HTML title. When you visit /weather, you should see your object with those two properties. All right, pause the video, and when you're done, click play. How'd that go? I'm going to kick things off by setting up an HTML response for about. Right here, I'm going to remove my standard string text, and I'll put HTML inside of here instead. I can open up my h1 tag, I can close it off, and I can put my title right inside. For this page, I'll just use about. With this in place, we can now go ahead and move on to weather. For this, I wanted you to send back some JSON. That means we're going to provide either an array or an object. In this case, we called for an object. So right here, I'll set up an object with those two properties. Forecast, I could just say something like it is snowing as an example for now. It actually is. Then the next one is the location property, and I'm currently filming from Philadelphia, so I'll toss that into the mix. Now that we have both of these in place, I'm going to remove the challenge comments and test both out to make sure they're working as expected. So over in the browser, that's going to be /about, where I should see my about title, and I do. Then /weather, where I should see my JSON response, and that is exactly what I'm getting. Now that we have this in place, we can send back regular text, we can send back JSON, and we can send back HTML. That's where we're going to stop for this video. In the next video, you're going to learn how you can serve up the contents of an entire directory. So if we have a really long web page with a lot of HTML, we don't want to write all of that inside of our Node server, inside of a string. It's going to become a real pain. It would be nice to have a separate HTML file. We'll dive into the details of that in the next video, so let's go ahead and jump right in.